Welcome back to the Phantom Beano Super Show 2 AM edition, where I am recording the video at 2 AM because I completely messed up my schedule and I am way behind. I think after Star Fox 64, the one game I would want to see ROM hacks of is Paper Mario, or at least that's what I would say, except the game actually has a semi-active ROM hacking scene already. Of course, it doesn't have the longevity of Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time, but it's alive and kicking to say the least. Now, the vanilla Paper Mario is one of my favorite games Nintendo has ever produced. On top of being a very approachable RPG, it also had a lot of heart and whimsy and is ultimately put over the edge because of its characters and its world. There's a level of variety and uniqueness that isn't there in other Mario titles. There's an aristocratic Boo family, a military Shy Guy general, Detective Penguin murder mystery, and of course, my boy, Rip Cheeto. The first three Paper Marios take me back to a different era when the Mario universe was far more open to weird creativity, and we're kinda starting to see that come back with things like Mario and Rabbids. So ROM hacks seem like a bit of a no-brainer. So today we're going to be talking about the first Paper Mario ROM hack I have ever covered on this channel. It's called Paper Mario: The Black Pit, and judging from the fact that I sunk an entire weekend of my life into punching through this game, you can imagine it's pretty good. Like I said in my Golden Souls video, I try not to spend more than 4 hours on any fan game or ROM hack that is exceedingly long. So by telling you that I got so devoured by this game that I amassed over 10 hours of footage is the single highest compliment I could possibly give to it. The premise is that Mario is taking a leisurely stroll and stumbles upon this so-called Black Pit. He meets up with Rip Cheeto and some other folks who've fallen in. Right off the bat, the goal is to conquer the pits and find a way to escape, but as the game goes on, some odd things begin happening that suggest something else is going on in the background. It's a game that not only engages from the gameplay standpoint, but presents a mystery and unanswered questions. The game's initial promise of Paper Mario, but it's a roguelike now, sells the game far short of what it actually is. It is far more than meets the eye at first. And really, that's what Paper Mario is supposed to be. Beyond that, I'm not even going to get super specific about the story because I think you'll much enjoy figuring it out on your own. The combat has been completely reworked to be a lot closer to Thousand Year Door. The big thing is stylish moves, which have been added to most of the attacks, complete with new animations and moves. Why'd I say moves twice? My favorite is Bombette because she can actually do it infinitely. I mean, who's gonna stop her? The game also features a cast of new enemies that aren't there in the base game. On top of new boss fights, we also got extremely punishing big boys near the bottom floors, like the Dank Fuzzy that can steal an entire 5 health, or the Black Magic Koopas that have 3 billion defense. In Thousand Year Door, there's a thing called the Pit of 100 Trials, and in this pit, you have to delve down 100 underground sub-levels that each have a group of enemies that you need to defeat before you can get to the next one. As you keep delving deeper, the enemies get tougher and tougher until you're fighting 18 Nitro Hitlers at once. That's an enemy. It's in the catalog. Black Pit seems to be inspired heavily by that part of the game, but there's a twist. The big thing about this game is the roguelike pit. You do have the classic Pit of 100 Trials where you had to punch through 100 floors of non-stop enemies, but at least you can exit and buy upgrades for yourself and your partners and then come back with a better arsenal. The roguelike pit is a completely different experience. When you enter, you start with nothing but your base stats and whatever star spirits you have unlocked. Along the way, you rely on upgrades that can be found on each floor, but only if you either have the right partner to obtain them or enough resources to break the locks, whether that be coins, keys, or enough health to withstand being hurt by it 87 times. The dynamic of this roguelike pit is incredibly unique and far beyond what I expected of a Paper Mario hack. let alone the first one I've ever actually gotten to play. There is an extremely huge demand for careful planning and thoughtful, forward-thinking, future-proofing foresight in this hack that isn't there in any of the Paper Mario games. Depending on how the RNG gods feel that day, the roguelike pit could hand you all the best badges and upgrades within the first 20 floors, or it could lock them behind key doors and money doors that you can't open because it's only floor 5. It could take you up until floor 50 or 60 before you actually start getting some of the good shit. Designing the game this way can feel unfair and absolutely devastating when it doesn't work in your favor, but it also makes the game infinitely replayable because you never know exactly what's going to happen whenever you start a new run. This right here is why I sunk so much time in this game. You can spend as many as 3 hours in this cave and still not make it out without dying. Thankfully, you're still rewarded for your efforts if you die, just not as much of a reward as if you didn't die. There are a lot of smart measures like that to make the game punishing while earning trust from the player that their hard work can't just be destroyed completely in a split second. So it makes you just angry enough to say fuck this game, but not enough for you to actually mean it sincerely. One of the big gimmicks of this game is that you don't level up in the traditional way. When you defeat enemies, you get coins, which might remind you of the new Paper Mario games, but it's actually better in this one because you can actually use the coins to buy permanent upgrades and perks instead of just disposable attack cards. Also, if you die in the classic pit, you drop all the coins you're carrying on that floor and you can't get them back until you fight your way all the way up to that floor. So just to recap, this is a really tough game where the coins are currency for items, but they also upgrade your character, and if you die, you drop them until you can reclaim them by going back to where you died. So it's pretty much just Dark Souls. On top of buying upgrades, you can also buy all kinds of cosmetic things. You can buy furniture items for your new home inside the pit and new skins for Mario. There are so many winks and nods here that it's just ridiculous. You can tell the people who made this are big fans of the game and the series and the in-jokes. My favorite is the Waluigi costume with the description, "Everyone is here," with an asterisk. Damn it. I think what really makes the game so enthralling and difficult to stop playing is the fact that every single solitary part of it is building towards the end goal of beat the cave and figure out what the hell is going on. Completing the classic pit with no upgrades is borderline impossible, so you have to beat the entire roguelike pit so that you can complete challenges and get star points, which you can cash in to get star spirits, and then there's the money which you can buy upgrades with, and also so you can get access to an entire secret maze with all these star pieces that give you health and flower upgrades. This maze is a motherfuck too. It's sprawling and huge and has toxic gas, so you can only spend a finite amount of time inside of it. It is a tough ass game, but every small component of it is entirely deliberate and meshes with the others perfectly. Everything you do is building to something else, and that's why I spent 3 whole days playing it, and falling way behind schedule. If any of you are worried about spoilers, even after like 20 hours in this game, I still haven't beaten it yet, so everything you see is still not everything. There is so much goddamn stuff squeezed out of such a seemingly rudimentary concept that it's mind-blowing, and the only reason I haven't beaten it yet is because I gotta keep the Christmas engine moving efficiently, and it's also hard. Not that I can't beat it, I mean, I beat Elden Ring on hard difficulty, aka the only difficulty, because I am the greatest gamer in the world. But even so, considering this is the first Paper Mario hack I've ever played, the bar has been set ridiculously high. It is a triumph in terms of features, gameplay, polish, and story, and an extremely impressive ROM hack that I can recommend to anybody, especially if you're a Paper Mario fan. It reminds me of why I was a fan in the first place, and I hope to God that the future of Paper Mario is bright, and the future of Paper Mario ROM hacks is even brighter. Ho ho ho! Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it because I did. Santa loves all the Paper Mario games except Sticker Star. Oh, very naughty game indeed. Now remember to tune into tomorrow's video at the same time as today. And for no reason at all, I want to remind you all that stir-fried mushrooms are actually quite delicious. Yes. Ho ho.